Ciao a tutti e bentornati, io sono Manu di Italy Made Easy. How are you guys? Come state? I'm answering questions from the great blog Italy Wise that helps you find all the information to move temporarily or permanently to Italy. So check it out, and this is question 2 in case you've missed the first one, it's up there. So here's the question and the details. You've been teaching people how to speak Italian for quite a while. What overarching advice would you give for someone just starting out with learning Italian to set them up for success? I ask this because in my experience, many people are enthusiastic when they start, and then once they get beyond the greetings and other basic stuff, their heads swim and they feel overwhelmed and many give up. And that is so true. That is why I think I've created a channel that is quite challenging. I mean, you gotta be serious about learning Italian if you're coming to Italy Made Easy, because I don't really entertain you with 2-minute videos that teach you 10 sentences. Okay, that's not my thing. So, what advice would I have? I have plenty. I've got notes, obviously. But the main thing is that you are realistic with both your expectations and your goals. Now, being realistic with the expectations means that if you expect to become fluent in Italian in 3 months, that might not happen. And then when you get to 3 months, or actually when you get to a month and a half, you realize that it's not happening, that's when you might give up. Be realistic with your expectations, and I'll tell you more about it in a minute. And then be realistic with your goals. I mean, everybody says, I want to be fluent, but the problem with fluency, I actually have a video about it, is that we often have this idealistic idea of fluency as in, I want to speak Italian just like I speak English. Do you really have to? I mean, is it really necessary that you know all the words of the Italian language? You don't know them in English, so why would you want to know them in Italian? Italians don't know all the words. Italians make mistakes in their own language, like English speakers make mistakes in English. So be realistic about what you would define as your ultimate goal and make it not crazy. And if you are realistic about expectations and goals, you will find that it's actually a lot easier to avoid giving up. Secondly, you must want it. Learning a language is a little bit of a Mount Everest. You can do as little or as much as you want, and even the little can help. But you have to have a match between what you want and the effort that you're putting in. If I want to be able to run 100 meters, then I will train a little, just to run 100 meters, and I'll be fine. But if I want to compete at the Olympics running 100 meters, then it's a whole different type of commitment. So find your goal so that you can find your level of commitment. Now, when it comes to success, you may have heard of SMART goals. I am a strong supporter of the idea of setting SMART goals. What are SMART goals? Well, SMART is an acronym, and it stands for specific, measurable, attainable, reasonable, and time-oriented. So specific. What is your specific goal with Italian? Now, my suggestion is that you don't set it to, I want to be fluent. Break it down to something shorter. I want to be able to have a 15-minute chat with the guy from the deli down the road. Okay, that's your goal. Is that specific? Very specific. It doesn't have to be that silly. It could be, I want to be able to go to Italy and not struggle, being able to get things done and make a few friends. Okay, we're not saying I want to move to Italy and be fluent. We're just being very specific about something. The next one, measurable. How do you measure? Well, for example, the previous example, wanting to talk for 15 minutes with somebody, that's very measurable. You either can or you can't. Okay, if your goal is, I want to be able to talk about what I'm passionate about in Italian, that's measurable, because when it comes to the time to check, you can say yes or no. I was able to talk about what I'm passionate about? Yes or no? Yes, you got it. Attainable. Do you have all the tools that would enable you to achieve that goal? You can't do it by yourself, obviously. You need to find help. Do you have all the materials? Do you have resources to guide you? Do you have a guide? Do you have a mentor? Do you have blah, 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 that kind of stuff? Reasonable. is it possible? Are you being realistic about what you're setting? Are you expecting to be mistaken for an Italian within 6 months of you starting? That's not reasonable. I'm not saying that it's not possible, but it's just not very realistic. So maybe find something that is more reasonable, something that you could physically possibly achieve with effort. Again, it's like going back to the running example. I could one day compete maybe in some kind of sporting event, but where's the timeline? Also, the age. There's an age limit for some things in sports. So there is no age limit in languages. That's a myth. Video here talking about that. But so yeah, let's move on. And time oriented. Do you have a deadline for this goal so you can measure and see if you got it? So being able to go to Italy in 6 months and do this, and this, there's a timeline. You have 6 months, then you can break it down in 6 small mini goals, like, you know, month 1, month 2, month 3. And then each one you could break it down to 4 different mini goals, like week 1, week 2, week 3. So this is what I would suggest so that you don't fail. But then it comes to my favorite thing to do, and is make it fun, make it real. Not as in keep it real, but make it fun, because you gotta enjoy doing it. That's why the old academic method doesn't work for most people, because you don't want to really put your face on a book and never look up again. You know, you want to have fun. And what I mean by making it real is that it's a language. You're learning it to speak it. So make it real. Talk to people from as early as you can. From the first week, yes, you can. Even if all you say to these people is buongiorno, piacere, come sta, grazie, arrivederci. You've spoken Italian. Next week, you might be able to ask them what their name is and where they're from. The following week, what do they do for work and what do they like doing? Every week, you'll be able to ask a bit more and communicate a bit more, but make it real. Talk to humans. Find Italians. Find them locally, find them virtually online, find them anywhere. I have a video about that as well. Perfetto. So this is the answer to the second question that came from Italy Wise. And now I will read to you what I'm going to be answering in the next video, which is, what would you advise as being the short list to focus on initially to help build a sense of confidence? Find out in the next video. Ciao, ciao.